The Outcast, the space station called Delta 17, floated near a dying star. Far from Earth, it was not a place of peace. Here, aliens ruled, and humans were at the bottom. Most humans worked as miners, cleaners, or cargo lifters. They were treated like insects, weak, slow, and useless. One of them was a young man named Daniel. Daniel worked in the cargo bay, lifting heavy boxes, sorting tools, and cleaning the floor. The aliens always mocked him. They laughed when he fell. They shouted at him when he was slow. And they pushed him around for fun. The worst of them was Tharn, a tall green alien with 4 arms and sharp yellow eyes. Tharn was in charge of the cargo workers. He hated humans more than anyone else. "You are lucky we let your kind live," Tharn said one day, throwing a bucket of waste at Daniel's feet. "Clean this filth. Maybe it's all you're good for." Daniel didn't reply. He had learned that silence was safer. His hands were dirty, his clothes torn, and his back hurt every day. Still, he worked hard. But no matter what he did, he was always mocked. The other humans didn't speak much either. Fear lived in their eyes. They kept their heads down and tried to survive. But deep inside Daniel, something was growing. It was quiet, like a small fire. At first, it was just shame. Then it became anger. That evening, Daniel was told to clean Level 9, a lower part of the station that had been closed for years. The lights flickered there, and it smelled like rust and old air. Rumors said that Level 9 was cursed. Some workers said a team had gone there once and never returned. Tharn grinned when he gave the order. "Don't get lost, little human," he said, laughing. Daniel walked down the metal stairs with a heavy flashlight in his hand. The hallway was dark and cold. The walls were covered in dust and strange markings. The station AI didn't speak here. Cameras were broken. It was silent. As Daniel moved deeper, he noticed something odd. A wall panel had fallen off. Behind it, there was a small tunnel, hidden and narrow. Curiosity pulled him in. He crawled through the tight space until he reached a wide-open chamber. His eyes widened. In front of him was a massive object, half buried in rock and metal. It was a ship, but not like any alien ship he had seen. This one was old, ancient. Its surface was covered in strange symbols that glowed faintly with blue light. The ship was silent, like it had been sleeping for a long time. Daniel stepped closer. As he touched the side, a soft hum filled the air. The ship responded. A door opened with a hiss, and a dim light spilled out. Inside was a chamber with a metal suit standing upright. It looked like armor, but nothing like what the aliens used. It was smooth, silver, and covered with glowing lines. It felt human. Daniel reached out, unable to stop himself. As soon as his hand touched the armor, it came alive. A surge of energy ran through his body. The armor opened and wrapped around him. Pain shot through his arms, legs, and chest. He screamed, but no one could hear him. The armor connected to his skin, his bones, his mind. Visions flashed before his eyes, humans in silver suits, flying through space, fighting monstrous aliens. A forgotten war. A powerful race of humans long lost to history. The armor had waited for someone to find it. Waited for someone worthy. When it was done, Daniel fell to his knees, breathing hard. He looked down at his hands. They were glowing with soft blue light. The armor felt like a second skin, light but strong. He didn't understand everything, but he knew one thing. This weapon was not just ancient. It was powerful. Daniel stood slowly, feeling strength he had never known before. He clenched his fists. The fear in his chest was gone. For the first time in his life, he didn't feel weak. He felt ready. The discovery. Daniel sat on the floor of the hidden ship, his body still shaking from the shock. The ancient armor was now part of him. It didn't feel like a suit. It felt alive. He could feel soft pulses in his chest, like the armor had a heartbeat. Blue lines of energy ran across his arms and legs. The inside of the helmet showed strange symbols and lights. He didn't understand them, But somehow, the meanings came to him slowly. It was like the armor was teaching him. He stood up, feeling stronger and lighter. His wounds from the cargo bay were gone. The pain in his back had vanished. His eyes glowed faintly through the helmet, and his mind was calm. He looked around the chamber. There were control panels, more glowing symbols, and walls made from a strange metal he had never seen before. He walked up to one panel. As he touched it, a hologram appeared. It showed star systems, battles, and human warriors in armor like his. They were fast, brave, and powerful. Then came images of a great war. Giant alien ships attacked Earth-like planets. The humans fought back with courage, but in the end, they were betrayed. One by one, their worlds fell. The warriors vanished. The armor was hidden, lost for centuries. Daniel now wore that same armor. The vision ended, and the chamber went quiet. Daniel looked down at his hands. "Why me?" he whispered. "Why now?" The armor didn't answer, but he felt something stir inside. A sense of purpose. The armor had chosen him. He left the ship slowly, moving through the tunnel and back to the lower level. He covered the entrance with metal scraps, hiding it as best he could. Back in the regular part of the station, things were the same. Aliens barked orders. Humans worked silently. But Daniel was not the same anymore. He wore regular clothes over the armor, though it still showed a faint blue glow through the fabric. No one noticed yet. That night, he sat in his small sleeping pod and tried to understand the armor. He focused, and suddenly, a screen appeared in front of his eyes. He could see energy levels, weapon systems, and something called adaptive combat mode. He touched a button with his mind. The armor shifted. A thin, glowing blade appeared on his wrist. With another thought, it vanished. Daniel's heart beat faster. This was real. He had power now more than any alien on this station. The next morning, he went to work in the cargo bay. Tharn was waiting. "You're late, human," Tharn growled. "Are you deaf or just slow?" Daniel stared at him, silent. Tharn pushed him hard. "Answer me, or I'll break your—" Daniel's hand moved without thinking. He caught Tharn's wrist in the air. The armor beneath his skin pulsed. Tharn's eyes widened. "What?" Daniel let go. "I'm not your toy," he said quietly. Other aliens nearby stopped to watch, humans too. This was not normal. A human had never talked back to Tharn. Tharn's face turned red with anger. He raised a metal rod to strike Daniel, but Daniel stepped aside easily. The armor guided him. It made him faster, sharper. Tharn swung again. Daniel caught the rod, bent it in half, and dropped it on the ground. Gasps echoed across the bay. Tharn stepped back. What are you?" he asked, voice shaking. Daniel didn't answer. He turned and walked away. Whispers spread fast. "Did you see that?" one human said. He stopped Tharn with one hand. "Impossible," an alien muttered. "No human can do that." By the end of the day, everyone on the station had heard the story. Some thought Daniel was using illegal tech. Others believed he had gone mad. But a few began to believe something else. Maybe humans weren't weak after all. That night, Daniel returned to the hidden ship. He walked into the chamber and stood in front of the main console. "Show me more," he said. The armor responded. A voice spoke in his head. Deep, clear, and strong. "You are now the last sentinel." "Sentinel?" Daniel asked. "Defender, protector, chosen by the armor. Your kind has been forgotten, but not lost. Rise and remember who you are." The room brightened as the systems came alive. Energy filled the chamber. Daniel stood taller. He didn't know how, but he could feel the memories of the past sentinels. Their courage, their battles, their hope. He was not just a worker anymore. He was part of something bigger, something ancient and powerful. The armor gave him more than strength. It gave him meaning. He left the chamber with a new goal. He would not hide anymore. He would protect the humans. He would show the aliens what they had forgotten. Humanity fights back. The first stand the next day started like any other on Delta 17. Cold metal floors, harsh lights, loud alien voices giving orders. Humans walked with eyes down, tired and silent. No one expected anything different, but something was different now. Daniel walked through the hallway with quiet confidence. The ancient armor was still hidden under his clothes, but it had become a part of him. Every movement felt stronger, smoother. His senses were sharper. He could hear the humming of machines from far away, and he could feel small changes in the air. He was no longer just a worker. He was the last sentinel. As he stepped into the cargo bay, he saw a small group gathered. Alien guards were shouting. A human boy named Tom, only 16, was on his knees. His shirt was ripped, and his face was bruised. One of the alien guards, a red-skinned brute named Krax, kicked Tom hard in the side. "You steal food from the storage room?" Krax shouted. "You think you can take what's not yours, human rat?" "I was hungry," Tom said, holding his stomach. "I just took one bar." Another kick. The humans nearby watched, afraid to speak. They had seen this before. If anyone tried to stop the guard, they would be punished too, or worse. Daniel's hands clenched into fists. The armor under his skin responded, sensing danger. He stepped forward. "That's enough." Everyone turned. The guard looked surprised. "What did you say, human?" "I said, 'That's enough,'" Daniel repeated. His voice was calm, but there was strength behind it. Krax laughed. "You want to take his place?" Daniel didn't answer. He stepped in front of Tom and stared at the alien. "Move," Krax growled. Daniel didn't move. The air around him grew heavy. The armor woke. Glowing lines slowly appeared across his arms and neck, breaking through his shirt. Krax's eyes narrowed. "What are you hiding?" Daniel let out a slow breath. "Let me show you." With a thought, the armor fully activated. Metal plates slid over his body. His helmet formed over his head with a soft hiss. In seconds, he stood in full ancient armor, glowing with soft blue light. Gasps filled the cargo bay. Krax took a step back. What are you?" Daniel didn't answer. He raised one hand. A blue energy shield appeared. With the other, a blade of light formed. Krax shouted and rushed forward with his shock baton. But Daniel moved too fast. He dodged the strike and hit the guard in the chest with his shield. Krax flew back, crashing into a stack of metal crates. Another alien guard fired a stun blaster. Daniel raised his shield, and the blast bounced off. He ran forward, leaped into the air, and landed with a powerful strike that shook the floor. Both guards were down. The humans stared in shock. For the first time they saw a human win. Daniel turned to Tom and helped him up. "You're safe now." Tom looked at him with wide eyes. "What are you?" "I'm human," Daniel said. "Just like you." News spread fast. Within hours, everyone on the station heard the story. A human had fought back. A human had defeated 2 alien guards. Some aliens were afraid. Some were angry. Others wanted answers. The station commander, a tall blue-skinned alien named Rather, called an emergency meeting. He watched the security footage in silence, then turned to his officers. "That armor is ancient," Rather said. "I thought it was lost forever. How did a human find it?" "Maybe it chose him," one officer said. Rather slammed the table. "Nonsense. Humans are weak. This must be stolen technology. We must stop him before the others rise." Later that night, Daniel sat in the hidden chamber of the ancient ship. He was tired but focused. The armor's voice spoke in his mind again. "You have shown courage, but more will come. They will fear your power. They will try to destroy you." Daniel nodded. "Let them try. I won't run. The time has come to lead." He didn't want to be a leader. He had never asked for this, but the humans needed hope. They needed someone to show them they could stand up. He sent a message through a hidden channel. A simple one. "Meet me in the old repair room. Midnight. It's time we stop being afraid. At midnight, 12 humans showed up. Workers, cleaners, and engineers. Men and women. All tired but curious. Daniel stood before them in full armor. "I know you're scared," he said. "So was I, but we can't live like this anymore. I found this armor in a forgotten place. I didn't ask for it, but it chose me. And now I choose to fight for us." He paused. "You don't need to wear armor to fight. You just need to believe that we deserve better. We're not weak. We're not trash, we're human. And it's time we remind them who we are." The room was silent for a moment. Then one man stepped forward. "I'm in," he said. Then another. "Me too." And another. Daniel smiled. The fire had started. The first stand had been made. But this was just the beginning. Uprising begins. The old repair room became their secret base. Every night, more humans joined Daniel. They came quietly, afraid of being seen by alien guards. But once they saw the armor and heard Daniel speak, their fear began to change into hope. Daniel trained them as best as he could. Some were strong, some were smart, and some were quick with machines. Each person had something to offer. He taught them how to move quietly, how to hide signals, and how to defend themselves using tools from the cargo bay. The armor helped too. It shared knowledge with Daniel, old battle strategies, defense plans, and technical data. The more time he spent with the armor, the more he understood it. And the more he understood himself. The goal was clear: take control of Delta 17, and send a signal to Earth. If Earth knew what the aliens were doing here, how they treated humans like slaves, they might respond. Maybe they would come, maybe. They would fight back. But to do that, Daniel and his group needed to reach the main control room deep inside the station, guarded by alien soldiers and locked behind layers of security. One night, Daniel stood in front of his team. "It won't be easy," he said. "The aliens are stronger and more prepared. But we have something they don't." "What's that?" a woman asked. "We have nothing to lose," Daniel said. "And we have each other." That night, the plan began. The rebellion started small. First, they shut down a power line that controlled part of the security cameras. The aliens thought it was a system failure. Next, they replaced some food supply boxes with hidden tools, metal rods, stun bombs, and energy cutters. Then, they hacked into the old maintenance bots. Now those bots carried secret messages across the station. Daniel moved between his worker shifts and the secret base without rest. Every time he walked through the hallways, he saw aliens looking at him with fear and confusion. They had seen the armor. They had seen what he could do. And they didn't know how to stop him. Tharn was the only one who wasn't afraid. The green-skinned officer grew angrier by the day. He watched security videos, read reports, and shouted at his soldiers. He knew Daniel was behind the strange power drops and stolen tools. But he had no proof. One day, Tharn stood in the center of the cargo bay and shouted, "Daniel, come out! Face me if you're brave." Daniel stepped forward. He was wearing his regular clothes, but the blue light of the armor glowed faintly beneath his sleeves. "Looking for me?" Daniel asked calmly. Tharn pointed. "You are a threat to this station. You've poisoned the humans with hope, but I will break you." Daniel smiled. "Try." With a loud roar, Tharn attacked. His body was strong, fast, trained in alien combat. But Daniel had the armor. With a quick move, Daniel activated it. Metal covered his body in seconds. His energy shield appeared just in time to block Tharn's sharp blade. They fought in the middle of the cargo bay. Sparks flew as metal clashed with metal. Humans and aliens watched from every corner. Tharn punched hard, kicked, and swung with deadly speed. But Daniel was faster, smarter. He dodged, blocked, and struck back. Tharn screamed and charged again, claws ready. Daniel spun aside and slammed his shield into Tharn's back, sending him crashing into the floor. The alien groaned and tried to rise. But Daniel stood over him, his blade glowing near Tharn's throat. "It's over," Daniel said. Tharn looked up, eyes full of rage. "You think this changes anything? You're still outnumbered." Daniel turned to the watching crowd. "Not anymore." One by one, humans stepped forward. Then, to everyone's surprise, a few alien workers joined too, those who were tired of the cruelty. The balance had shifted. Hours later, the final step began. Daniel and his team stormed the main control room. The fight was brutal. Alarms blared. Energy blasts flew across the hallways. Daniel led from the front, his armor shielding him, his blade cutting through every defense. Inside the control room, the station's I tried to lock down the systems. But Daniel had already studied its code. He plugged in a device made by one of the human engineers and broke through the firewall. "Signal ready," the engineer said. "We just need to press send." But then disaster. The system detected the breach and began the self-destruct sequence. The station would blow up in 10 minutes. Everyone froze. Daniel looked at the panel. There was only one way to stop it: manual. Override from the core chamber, deep below the station. "It has to be done from inside," the engineer said. "And it's not safe." "The radiation," Daniel nodded. "I'll go." "No," someone shouted. "You'll die in there." "I'm wearing ancient armor," Daniel said with a sad smile. "If anyone can survive it, I can." He turned and ran toward the core chamber. Inside the chamber, it was hot and deadly. The walls glowed red. Sparks flew from the ceiling. Daniel climbed down the ladder, reached the console, and pressed his hand to it. The armor began to hum. It merged with the station systems, connecting. His mind to the controls. He saw the countdown. Only 90 seconds left. The armor burned. The energy from the core was too strong. But he didn't let go. He forced the system to stop the countdown. Then he sent the signal to Earth. A message of truth. A message of hope. A message that said, humanity still stands. The energy overwhelmed him. His body fell. The armor remained its. Light fading slowly. The legacy the station Delta 17 did not explode. Daniel's sacrifice had stopped the self-destruct in the final seconds. His body was never found, but the armor, damaged and still glowing faintly, was recovered near the reactor chamber. It was quiet now. The weapons were silent. The hallways that once echoed with alien commands were filled with something new: hope. The signal Daniel sent reached Earth within hours. It carried video recordings, proof of alien cruelty, and images of Daniel in full armor, standing like a hero. His voice was clear in the final message: "To all humans, don't be afraid anymore. We were not made to kneel. We were made to rise. Remember who we are." On Earth, people gathered in large crowds to watch the broadcast. Cities paused. Leaders listened. For the first time in years, humans saw the truth. They were not weak. They were not alone. The message spread like fire. Across colonies, space stations, and Earth itself, the name Daniel became a symbol. Governments united. Armies were formed. Scientists studied the footage of the armor. For decades, humans had been silent under alien rule. Now they were awake. Back on Delta 17, the station was under human control. The rebels, led by the people Daniel had trained, stood strong. Aliens who once ruled now obeyed the new peace laws, or were sent back to their homeworlds. The young boy Daniel once saved had become one of the new leaders. His eyes burned with determination. "We won't rule with fear," he said. "We'll lead with justice." That's what Daniel wanted. The old cargo bay was turned into a memorial. A tall statue stood there now, Daniel in his armor, looking forward, blade in hand, shield at his side. At the base were his words: "We are human, and we never give up." Months passed. Human ships arrived at Delta 17. They were no longer small or afraid. They were large, strong, and armed. Other stations saw this change and followed. Rebellions sparked everywhere. The aliens who once mocked humans started fearing them. But not all aliens were enemies. Some had helped Daniel in secret. Some had joined the uprising. They were allowed to stay, to live under fair laws. Delta 17 became a symbol of peace and strength. A place where the human flag now flew high, side by side with those of their new allies. 1 year later, Earth held a great celebration. They called it the Day of the Sentinel. Children wore toy armor. Artists painted murals of Daniel's fight. Songs were written about his bravery. In a small town on Earth, a young girl stood in front of a hologram of Daniel. Her eyes were wide with wonder. "Mom," she said, "was he real?" Her mother smiled. "Yes, he was just a worker, just a man. But he changed everything." The girl looked at the statue again. "I want to be like him." "You can," the mother replied softly. "That's what he taught us." In space, far from Earth, a new ship flew through the stars. It was named the Sentinel, in Daniel's honor. Its mission: to protect human colonies, search for lost human history, and make sure no one ever treated humans as slaves again. On board were trained warriors, engineers, doctors, and explorers. They all knew Daniel's story. His armor restored and studied, was placed in a sealed chamber, a symbol of what one man could do. No one wore it again. It had chosen Daniel, and it belonged to him. Back at Delta 17, life had changed. The once dark station now had clean halls, fair rules, and open schools. Humans walked with pride. No one called them weak anymore. Tom stood on the command deck, looking out the large window at the stars. He would have liked this. A woman beside him said. Tom nodded. "He didn't just save us, he woke us up," she smiled. "Do you think he's really gone?" Tom paused, then said, "Maybe the armor saved him somehow. Maybe he's out there watching." They both looked up at the sky. Some said Daniel became one with the ship's core. Some believed he survived and disappeared into space. No one knew the truth. But his legend lived on. In every corner of the galaxy. When humans faced trouble, they remembered Daniel. When a human was afraid, they whispered his name. When a child asked what it meant to be strong, they were told the story of the man who wore ancient armor, stood up against cruelty, and reminded the galaxy what it meant to be human. Story end.